Welcome. When everything feels like it's falling apart, when you're alone, broke, and exhausted, that's the moment life is testing you. And let me tell you something. The ones who rise from that place, the ones who refuse to quit, are the ones who create extraordinary lives. This is where true strength is built. This is where the foundation for greatness begins. Because it's not about having everything, it's about finding a way when you have nothing. It's about showing up even when it feels impossible and proving to yourself that you are capable of more than you ever imagined. Today is the day you stop waiting for someone to save you and start becoming the person who can save yourself. We're going to talk about what it takes to keep going when you feel like you have nothing left. How to push forward when you're exhausted and no one's watching. How to take those first steps when you're broke, tired, and unsure of what's next. Let's dive in. I want you to think about this carefully. There will come a time in your life when you'll feel like you're standing all alone. Nobody's clapping for you. Nobody's cheering you on. It's just you, your dream in the silence. That's what I call the strength of solitude, and let me tell you, it's one of the most important strengths you'll ever develop. At first, being alone might feel heavy. It might feel like the weight of the world is on your shoulders and there's no one around to help you carry it. You might even start questioning yourself. Why does it have to be this way? Why isn't anyone supporting me? But here's the truth. You don't need a crowd to start. In fact, being alone is a gift because it forces you to rely on the one person who will never leave you, yourself. When you're alone, there's no noise, no distractions. You get to listen to your own thoughts, your own heart, and your own intuition. That's where clarity begins. You stop worrying about what other people think, what they might say, or whether they approve of your choices, and in that quiet, you discover who you really are and what you're truly capable of. That's the strength of solitude. Think about this. When you're constantly surrounded by people, it's easy to lean on them. It's easy to let their opinions shape your decisions or let their energy fuel your actions. But when you're alone, it's just you. You're the one who has to take the first step, make the tough call, and push forward when it gets hard. That kind of responsibility can feel scary, but it's also what makes you stronger. Let me share something with you. Every great achievement you've ever heard about, every success story, every breakthrough, it all started in someone's mind when they were alone. Thomas Edison working late into the night. Oprah Winfrey believing in herself when no one else did. Steve Jobs sitting in a garage with nothing but an idea. They didn't have a crowd cheering them on in the beginning. They didn't have applause or encouragement. What they had was a vision and the courage to work toward it even when nobody else could see it. That's the beauty of solitude. It sharpens your focus. It allows you to drown out the noise of the world and zero in on what truly matters. When you're alone, you have the time and space to ask yourself the hard questions. What do I really want? Why does this matter to me? What am I willing to do to make it happen? And when you answer those questions honestly, you find the fuel you need to move forward. You see, solitude isn't about isolation or loneliness. It's about preparation. It's about building a foundation that's strong enough to support your dreams. When you learn to thrive in solitude, you develop the ability to stand firm no matter what life throws at you. You don't crumble when the support system isn't there because you've already built that strength within yourself. Now, I know it's not easy. I know there will be times when you feel like giving up. The silence might feel too loud, the struggle too overwhelming. But let me remind you of something. Diamonds are made under pressure and steel is forged in fire. The times when you feel most alone are the times when you're growing the most. And let's be real, waiting for someone to show up and save you is a losing game. Nobody's coming to do the work for you. Nobody's going to care about your dreams as much as you do. So you've got to take that first step on your own. You've got to start building, even if it's brick by brick, even if it feels like no one notices. The strength of solitude isn't just about surviving those lonely moments, it's about thriving in them. It's about turning that quiet into an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to build something extraordinary. Use that time to read, to study, to develop your skills. Take the silence and turn it into your personal workshop. When you embrace solitude, something amazing happens. You stop looking outward for validation, and you start looking inward for strength. You stop waiting for the world to tell you you're good enough, and you start proving it to yourself. You become your own biggest supporter, your own motivator, your own team. And that kind of independence, that's unstoppable. So the next time you find yourself alone, don't see it as a disadvantage, see it as an opportunity, see it as your chance to step away from the noise and focus on what truly matters. Use that time to get clear on your goals, to plan your next move, and to take action. Because when you learn to stand strong in solitude, you become unshakable. And here's the thing, when you do it alone, when you build something from scratch without anyone holding your hand, it means more, it feels different. It's yours, and nobody can take that away from you. That's the kind of strength that lasts a lifetime. So embrace the solitude, lean into the quiet, use it to build the life you want, step by step, day by day. Because when you look back, you'll see that those moments of being alone weren't holding you back, they were setting you free. Now go out there and make it happen. The strength you need is already inside you. All you have to do is use it. If you're ever going to make true, undeniable progress in your life, you need to accept one of the most profound and liberating truths there is. You must start alone. This is not a suggestion. This is a law of greatness. I don't care if you don't have the resources, the experience, or the people to support you. You have to begin, even if it's just you. That's not just where everything starts. That is the very forge where your character and your destiny are shaped. I know the idea of being alone at the beginning of something huge can be intimidating. It can feel like a disadvantage. You look around and you see others with teams, with funding, with a network of support, and a voice in your head whispers, "Why can't that be me?" But let me tell you, that whisper is a lie. What you are seeing is not a shortcut. It is a path that was built long before you saw it. What you have right now, this moment of solitude and uncertainty, is not a setback. It is a priceless gift. There is a profound power in starting alone that those who begin with a crowd can never fully experience. It's a power that forces you to dig deep within yourself for the answers. It's a power that strips away every crutch, every easy option, and every distraction. When you have no one to rely on but yourself, you discover strengths you didn't know you possessed. You learn to be resourceful. You learn to solve problems. You learn to make decisions not based on consensus, but on your own clear and unwavering vision. This is the process of building self-reliance, and it is the single most important quality of every great leader, innovator, and achiever in history. Think about it. Every single successful person you admire started out alone in their journey. They had a vision, a passion, a goal that was invisible to everyone else. Nobody else believed in them the way they believed in themselves. Can you imagine the solitude felt by Steve Jobs in that garage? Or by Oprah Winfrey when she was fired from her first job and told she wasn't fit for television? Or by Thomas Edison in his lab, failing thousands of times while the world saw only a fool? They didn't have a crowd cheering them on. They didn't have applause or encouragement. What they had was a fierce belief in their own purpose and the courage to begin even when nobody else could see it. This is not a burden. It is a blessing. Because when it's just you, you don't have anyone telling you what to do, how to do it, or why you can't do it. You're not getting distracted by other people's opinions, their doubts, or their fears. Your only counsel is your own conscience. Your only competition is the person you were yesterday. And your only mission is to bring your unique, authentic vision to life. I know the journey is tough. There will be days when you feel lost, uncertain, and like you're spinning your wheels. But here's something important to understand. That's normal. That's part of the process of greatness. You don't need anyone's approval to keep going. You don't need validation from the outside world. The only validation that matters is the belief in yourself and the unwavering commitment to keep moving forward. Starting alone means that you have full, unadulterated control of your destiny. You are not waiting for someone else to give you a green light. You are not at the mercy of circumstances. You are taking absolute responsibility for your own success. There is no more blaming the economy, your family, or your situation. You start to realize that the power to create the life you want is already inside of you. It's not about waiting for permission, it's about going and getting it yourself. This moment of starting alone, of feeling the immense weight of your own potential, is not something to be feared, it is something to be embraced. Because the fire that forges steel is not a gentle flame, and the character that is built in solitude is unbreakable. The quiet struggle, the unseen hours of work, the moments when you feel like giving up, these will be the very things that strengthen you and prepare you for what's ahead. This is your opportunity to build the right kind of mindset. You can't rely on other people to keep you motivated. You have to learn how to motivate yourself. You have to learn how to keep going even when the path isn't clear, even when you feel tired, and even when things seem impossible. That's the real power. When you can get up every single day regardless of what happened yesterday and keep moving forward, you're unstoppable. It's easy to want to wait for the perfect moment. We all want things to fall into place before we take that leap. But let me tell you something. That moment doesn't come. If you keep waiting for the right time, the right opportunity, the right people, nothing will ever happen. The perfect moment to start doesn't exist. What exists is now. And right now you have the ability to take that first step, to begin and to commit to the journey. So stop looking for excuses. Stop waiting for everything to be perfect. Stop looking at others who are already ahead and thinking that you need their help or their guidance to succeed. You don't. What you need is to believe in yourself, to trust the process, and to keep showing up. When you start alone, there's a sense of freedom that is unmatched. You get to decide the rules. You get to create the vision. You get to choose the path. And even though it might be lonely at first, remember this. The greatest achievements in life were all started by someone who didn't wait for permission. They took that leap. They made that decision to start alone. And that's exactly what you need to do. So go ahead, take that first step. Start, even if it's just you. The journey may be tough, but it will be yours and it will be worth it. Because the truth is, you don't need anyone else to make it happen. You just need to believe in yourself and start. The world is waiting for you to show up, and that starts now. Being broke doesn't make you broken. I know it's easy to look at your bank account or the state of your finances and feel like you failed. You start thinking that being broke is a permanent condition, something that will define your life forever. But let me tell you something. Being broke is a temporary state, not a life sentence. It doesn't matter where you are today, because that's not where you'll be tomorrow. What matters is how you think about being broke and what you choose to do about it. First things first, we all go through times when money is tight. It's part of the process. Some people call it struggling, but I prefer to think of it as a lesson in resourcefulness. When your bank account is low, you learn to get creative. You stop relying on things that don't matter and focus on what truly does. When you don't have the luxury of buying whatever you want, you start to understand the value of things. You begin to appreciate the importance of working smarter instead of harder. You realize that the world doesn't owe you anything. You have to go out there and earn it. But let's face it, when you're broke, it feels lonely. It feels like everyone else has their life together, and you're stuck in a cycle of uncertainty. You might be looking around, seeing other people succeed and wondering why things haven't clicked for you yet. Maybe you're even blaming yourself, thinking that you did something wrong or that you're somehow less deserving of success. But I want you to hear me clearly. It's not about what you have or don't have right now. It's about what you're willing to do with what you have. You don't need a ton of money to start making a change in your life. In fact, being broke forces you to get resourceful, and that's a skill you can't buy. It's a skill that, when honed, will take you places you can't even imagine yet. The people who are successful today, they didn't start with everything handed to them. They started with less than you think. But they had something that set them apart from the rest. They knew that their current situation wasn't the final word. They knew that where they were didn't define where they were going, and they took action. It's important to remember that your financial status today is not who you are. Don't let the lack of money steal your vision. Don't let it stop you from dreaming bigger, from setting goals, and from taking action. I know it can be hard when you're doing everything you can just to get by, but it's precisely in these moments when you build the habits, the mindset, and the resilience that will carry you through to the other side. You see, when you're broke, you're often forced to live differently. You stop wasting money on things that don't matter. You stop chasing after the latest trends or getting distracted by things that don't add value to your life. And that's actually a good thing. You begin to focus on what really matters. You begin to focus on growth, on developing new skills, on creating opportunities where none existed before. Because being broke teaches you that your worth isn't tied to your paycheck or your possessions. Your worth is tied to your ability to create, to think, to solve problems, and to keep pushing forward no matter the obstacles. Now, I'm not saying it's easy, far from it. There will be days when you feel like it's too much. You'll look at your empty bank account and wonder how you'll make it through the next week. You'll feel frustrated, you'll feel lost, and that's okay. It's okay to feel down sometimes. But what separates those who stay broke from those who rise above it is their ability to get back up, to keep moving forward, and to never let their current situation define their future. You might be thinking, but Jim, how do I get out of this mess? How do I start moving forward when it feels like I'm stuck? Well, it starts with a shift in mindset. You have to stop seeing being broke as a life sentence and start seeing it as an opportunity for growth. It's in these times that you're learning the most important lessons of your life. You're learning how to be resourceful, how to solve problems, how to be disciplined, and how to keep pushing when everything seems to be against you. And let me tell you, those lessons are priceless. I've been there myself. I've had those moments where I looked around and thought, how am I going to get through this? But you know what? I didn't let those moments define me. I didn't give up. I didn't let my bank account or my circumstances control my future. I made the decision that I would rise above it. And that's exactly what you need to do now. You need to make the decision that this is not the end. This is just the beginning. You don't have to have it all figured out right now. You just have to keep moving forward, even if it's in small steps. Even if all you have is a little bit of hope, a little bit of faith, and a lot of determination, you can make progress. You can create something out of nothing. And eventually all that effort will pay off. It won't happen overnight, but it will happen if you keep at it. And here's another thing, don't be afraid to fail. You're going to make mistakes, you're going to stumble, but that's part of the process. Failure is simply feedback. It's a way for you to learn what doesn't work so that you can figure out what does. Don't let failure hold you back. Don't let the fear of making mistakes stop you from moving forward. If anything, let those mistakes be fuel for your next step. At the end of the day, being broke is just a phase. It's a temporary situation that doesn't define your worth. You are not your bank account. You are not your circumstances. You are the choices you make. You are the action you take. And if you decide today that you're not going to stay stuck, that you're going to rise above this, then nothing, absolutely nothing, can stop you from reaching your goals. So take a deep breath and realize that being broke doesn't mean you're broken. It just means you have more room to grow. It means you have more opportunity to learn, to adapt, and to become the person you were always meant to be. Don't let money or the lack of it define who you are, because the real power, the real wealth is in your mindset, and that's something you control. You can rise above anything, and I know you will. Keep moving forward, because your breakthrough is closer than you think. I know that might sound strange, but stay with me for a moment. Most people, when they feel tired, they just stop. They take a break, they give up, they say, I'm done for today, and that's okay when you need rest. But what if I told you that some of your greatest moments of progress come when you push through that tiredness? When you keep going, when everything in your body is telling you to quit, but you decide that you're not done yet. Look, I know what it's like to feel exhausted. You've worked all day and now your body is begging you to stop. Your mind is telling you to take a break, to rest, to put everything off for tomorrow. And when you're tired, it's hard to think clearly. It's hard to focus. Your energy feels drained, and all you want to do is hit the reset button and start fresh in the morning. But here's the thing. That's the moment that separates those who make it from those who don't. That's the moment when you show yourself what you're truly made of. Because let's face it, there's never going to be a time when you feel 100% energized all the time. There's no magic moment when everything clicks into place and you feel like you're ready to conquer the world. Most days you'll be tired. Most days you'll feel like you've given all you can give. But if you wait for that perfect moment, you'll be waiting forever. Success doesn't come to those who wait for the stars to align. Success comes to those who keep going even when they're exhausted, even when they feel like they have nothing left to give. I know it's not easy. In fact, it's tough. There are days when you'll question whether it's all worth it. You'll wonder if you should just take it easy and put things off, but that's when you need to dig deep. That's when you need to remember why you started in the first place. It's in those moments of fatigue that you have the opportunity to prove to yourself just how strong you really are. When you're tired, that's when the real growth happens. It's in the struggle and the challenge that you begin to see what you're made of. It's in the moments when you feel like you're about to break that you realize your potential. And when you push through that tiredness, you don't just push your body, you push your limits. You push your comfort zone. And you expand what you believe is possible for yourself. It's in those moments that you build discipline, resilience, and mental toughness. You get stronger not by avoiding the fatigue, but by learning how to keep going when it hits you hard. It's easy to quit. Everyone can quit. The question is, will you choose to quit or will you choose to keep going? Will you choose to rest when you know deep down you need to push through? Because here's the thing, tiredness is a test. It's a test of your commitment. It's a test of your belief in yourself. It's a test of your ability to dig deep and find that inner strength that lies within you, waiting to be awakened. And I'll tell you this, you're stronger than you think. You have more energy and more power inside of you than you've ever realized. When you push through tiredness, you unlock a new level of strength that you never thought possible. Your mind and body might tell you to stop, but your spirit, the part of you that believes in your vision and your dream and your purpose, that part will carry you forward. And that's the part that will make all the difference in the long run. Look, I know the struggle. I've had those days where everything feels like it's too much. I've felt the weight of exhaustion pulling me down, making me want to quit. But every time I've chosen to keep going, every time I've pushed through the tiredness, I've come out stronger on the other side. And you will too. You're not going to feel energized every day. You're not going to feel excited every day. There will be days when you feel like you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders and you'll wonder if it's worth it. But those are the days that count. Those are the days that separate the doers from the dreamers. The people who are willing to make the sacrifice from those who want success but aren't willing to put in the work. What's amazing is that you don't have to have all the energy in the world to succeed. You just have to have enough willpower to keep moving even when it feels like you're running on empty. You just have to have the determination to take one more step, to make one more phone call, to write one more page, to do one more task, even when you're completely drained. It's not about how much energy you have left. It's about how much heart you have to keep going, no matter how tired you are. And here's something else to remember. It's not just about physical tiredness. Sometimes the most draining part of your journey is the mental fatigue. The constant thoughts, the planning, the analyzing, the self-doubt. It can all wear you out. But again, that's when you need to dig even deeper, because mental fatigue is often where the real battle is won. When you can learn to control your mind, when you can learn to push through the mental exhaustion and keep your focus on what matters, that's when you truly gain control over your success. So what do you do when you're tired? Do you give up or do you keep going? Do you rest and wait for tomorrow, or do you push through and finish what you started? The choice is yours. But know this, the people who make it to the top are the ones who choose to keep going. They choose to push through when they're exhausted. They choose to keep showing up when they feel like they have nothing left to give. And they do it because they know that success isn't handed to you. Success is earned by those who refuse to quit, no matter how tired they are. You've got this. Don't let tiredness stop you. Use it as fuel. Push through it and you'll discover just how powerful you really are. Keep going even when you feel like you can't. You're closer than you think to the breakthrough you've been waiting for. Don't stop now. The best part of your journey is just ahead. Life has a funny way of testing us. When things get tough, when challenges come up, when we're facing obstacles, we often feel like giving up is the easiest option. You get tired, you get frustrated, and it seems like no matter what you do, things aren't going the way you want. But here's the thing, success is not built on motivation, it's built on discipline. Discipline is the difference between getting up every day and making progress, or staying stuck in the same place, complaining about where you are. If you want to succeed, you have to learn how to build discipline, especially when things are hard. When you're faced with challenges, that's when you have to dig deep and make the decision to push forward, even when it feels impossible. I get it. It's not easy. We all go through times when it feels like the weight of the world is on our shoulders, and in those moments, it's easy to let our emotions get the best of us. We want to throw in the towel, take a break, or just quit altogether. But that's where discipline comes in. Discipline is what helps you keep going when you don't feel like it. It's what keeps you focused, what keeps you moving, and what keeps you on track, even when the road ahead feels rough. Now, let's talk about what discipline really is. It's not about forcing yourself to do things you don't want to do. It's about building a routine that aligns with your goals, creating habits that push you closer to where you want to be, and staying consistent even when it's tough. It's about doing what you need to do day in and day out, whether you feel like it or not. It's about making the small choices every single day that compound into something bigger over time. The problem is, most people give up too soon. They think they're not making progress because they don't see results right away. But here's the thing, discipline isn't about instant gratification, it's about long-term results. It's about putting in the work day after day, even when you don't see immediate rewards. And here's the secret, the work you put in today may not pay off today, but it will pay off tomorrow. It's the law of compounding. The small, consistent efforts you make today will lead to big results down the road. When you're faced with challenges, when things don't go the way you planned, that's when you have to rely on discipline the most. It's easy to be motivated when everything is going well, when things are falling into place and success seems just within reach. But the real test of your commitment comes when things aren't going your way. That's when you have to dig deep. That's when you have to remind yourself why you started in the first place. Building discipline starts with making a decision. You have to decide that no matter what, you're going to keep going. You're going to show up every day. You're going to do the work even when it's hard, and you have to decide that you're not going to let excuses or setbacks get in your way. Discipline is about making that commitment to yourself, knowing that the journey won't always be easy, but the results will be worth it. Here's the truth. When you have discipline, you stop relying on motivation. Motivation is great, but it's fleeting. It comes and goes. Some days you feel like you can conquer the world, and other days you can barely get out of bed. But discipline doesn't depend on how you feel. Discipline is about showing up even on the days when you're tired, when you're frustrated, or when you don't feel like doing the work. Discipline is about pushing yourself to do what needs to be done even when you don't have the energy to do it. It's about sticking to your plan no matter what. And here's something you need to understand. Discipline isn't about perfection. It's about consistency. It's about doing your best even when things aren't perfect. You don't have to get everything right every time, but if you keep moving forward, if you keep showing up and doing the work, you're going to make progress. Little by little, step by step, you'll get closer to where you want to be. One of the hardest parts of building discipline is learning how to deal with setbacks. No matter how disciplined you are, There will be times when things don't go as planned. You might fail. You might make mistakes. You might even feel like giving up. But that's when you have to lean into your discipline even more. You can't let setbacks knock you off track. You can't let failure define you. Instead, you have to learn from your mistakes, get back up, and keep going. Discipline isn't about avoiding failure. It's about pushing through it and learning from it. You also have to get comfortable with discomfort. Discipline requires you to step outside of your comfort zone. It requires you to do things that might not feel easy, that might not come naturally. But it's in that discomfort that you grow. It's in those moments of challenge that you build strength. And over time, those small moments of discomfort will add up to big results. The more you push yourself, the stronger your discipline becomes, and the easier it gets to keep going even when it's hard. Building discipline also means building a strong sense of self-respect. When you show up for yourself, when you do what you said you would do, you build confidence. You start to trust yourself more. You start to believe in your ability to keep going even when things get tough. And that confidence becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The more you trust yourself, the more you'll follow through on your commitments, and the more success you'll create. One of the best ways to build discipline is to create routines. Routines eliminate decision fatigue. They take away the need to constantly think about what you should do next. When you have a routine, you don't waste energy trying to figure out what to do every day. You know exactly what you need to do, and you do it. Routines create structure in your life, and structure breeds discipline. The more you can make certain tasks automatic, the less you'll rely on motivation, and the more you'll rely on your discipline. But here's the most important thing. Building discipline is a process. It takes time, it takes effort, but if you keep at it day after day, you'll get there. And when you do, you'll look back and realize that all the small choices you made, all the sacrifices you made, all the days you kept going when you didn't feel like it, they added up. They gave you the success you're looking for. So if you're facing challenges, if you're feeling like giving up, remember this: discipline is the key. It's what will help you push through the tough times. It's what will keep you focused on your goals. And it's what will help you create the success you want. And the best part, you have the power to build that discipline starting today. All it takes is a commitment to keep going no matter what. When you do that, you'll find yourself accomplishing things you never thought possible. And that's when the magic happens. There's a story I want to share with you. It's the story of someone who wanted to change their life, wanted to make things happen, but every time they tried, they found themselves facing some kind of excuse. It's the kind of story that most of us can relate to because we've all been there. The story starts with a dream, a desire to succeed, to do something amazing. But then, as it always happens, life gets in the way. They don't have enough time, they don't have enough money, they don't have the right connections, they don't know where to start, and pretty soon the dream fades into the background, buried under a mountain of excuses. I know that story because I've lived it. I've seen so many people, myself included, fall into the trap of excuses. And let me tell you, excuses are easy, they're comforting. They give you a reason to stop, a reason to take the easy route, a reason to not go after what you really want. It's much easier to say, I'll start tomorrow, or I'm just not ready yet, than it is to face the reality that you have to start now. But here's the truth. Excuses won't get you anywhere. They're the things that hold you back, that keep you stuck in the same place, that prevent you from moving forward. I know it's not easy. We all face challenges, obstacles, and struggles, but the reality is that we all have the same amount of time in a day. We all have 24 hours. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is how they choose to use those 24 hours. It's not about the circumstances you're in. It's about how you choose to deal with them. It's about how you respond when things get tough. Because the truth is, life is always going to throw challenges your way. You're always going to face adversity. But the real question is, what will you do when it happens? You see, excuses are just a way of giving yourself permission to quit. They're a way to avoid the discomfort of pushing through the hard moments. But if you really want to achieve something great, if you want to create the life you've always dreamed of, you have to learn to stop making excuses. You have to stop using your circumstances as a reason to hold yourself back. You have to decide that no matter what, you're going to find a way to make it happen. Let me tell you something. Nobody ever gets to where they want to be without facing some kind of challenge. Nobody ever gets to success without overcoming some form of hardship. It's not easy, but it's the struggle, the persistence, and the resilience that leads to growth. And when you learn to face those challenges head on, when you stop letting excuses control your life, you'll realize something. You're capable of so much more than you ever imagined. The thing about excuses is that they're often rooted in fear, fear of failure, fear of the unknown, fear of not being good enough. But you can't let fear control your life. You can't let fear stop you from taking that first step. Because the truth is, the only way to grow is to step into that fear, to take action despite it. If you keep waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect conditions, the perfect time to start, you'll be waiting forever. There's never going to be a perfect time. The best time to start is right now. You have to be willing to take that first step, even if it feels uncomfortable. You have to push past the fear and keep moving forward. Now, I want you to think about something for a minute. What's the excuse you keep telling yourself? What's the thing you've been using to hold yourself back? Is it that you don't have enough time? Is it that you're not ready? Or is it that you just don't believe in yourself? Whatever it is, I want you to realize something. That excuse is not the truth. It's just a story you've been telling yourself, and it's time to rewrite it. We all have the ability to change our story. We all have the ability to take control of our lives and our futures. But it starts with getting rid of those excuses, with taking responsibility for where we are and where we want to go. When you stop making excuses, you take control of your life. You stop letting things happen to you and you start making things happen. And that's when the real transformation begins. So how do you stop making excuses? How do you break free from the cycle of self-doubt and procrastination? It starts with changing your mindset. It starts with shifting the way you think about challenges and obstacles. Instead of seeing them as reasons to quit, you have to start seeing them as opportunities to grow. Every challenge is a lesson. Every setback is a chance to learn something new. When you stop making excuses, you start looking at problems as puzzles to solve, not obstacles to avoid. Another key part of overcoming excuses is being honest with yourself. You have to stop lying to yourself about why you haven't taken action. You can't keep blaming external circumstances for why things aren't going the way you want. You have to ask yourself the hard questions. Why haven't you taken the first step yet? What's really holding you back? And once you identify those reasons, you can start to take action to overcome them. Sometimes the hardest part is just getting started. We get so caught up in thinking about everything that needs to be done that we freeze. We make the task seem bigger than it really is. But here's the truth. You don't have to do everything at once. You don't have to have everything figured out. You just have to take one small step and then another. Each small step will get you closer to where you want to be. It doesn't matter how big the goal is, it matters how consistent you are with your actions. Break it down into smaller tasks and just keep moving forward. You have to remember that progress doesn't happen overnight. It's a slow and steady process. It's about doing the work even when you don't see immediate results. It's about showing up every single day, doing the best you can, and trusting that the results will come. If you keep going, if you keep taking those small steps, you'll eventually get where you want to be. But you have to keep going. No excuses. Here's the final point I want to make. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop waiting for things to be easier. Stop waiting for the right time. There's no such thing as the perfect time. The time is now. Don't let excuses hold you back anymore. Don't let fear or doubt or the idea of not being ready stop you from taking action. You are ready. You have everything you need to start right now. It's time to let go of the excuses. It's time to stop letting the things that are outside of your control dictate your future. You have the power to change your life. You have the power to create the success you've been dreaming of. But it all starts with getting rid of the excuses. When you do that, when you make the decision to stop letting excuses control you, you'll realize that nothing is stopping you but yourself. And that's when the real magic happens. The choice is yours. Will you keep making excuses or will you take action? The decision is in your hands. One of the most common things I hear from people who are stuck, who are struggling to make progress in their lives, is this idea that they need permission. They wait for someone to give them the green light, to tell them it's okay to move forward, to start that business, to pursue that dream, to make that change. It's almost as if they're sitting around waiting for someone to come and say, hey, you're ready. Go ahead and take the leap. But here's the thing. Nobody's going to give you that permission. The truth is, you don't need permission to succeed. You don't need anyone's approval or validation to go after what you want. The only person who needs to give you permission is you. I know it can be intimidating, especially when you feel like you're standing at the edge of something big and you're unsure if you should jump. It feels safe to wait for someone to come and tell you it's okay. You're allowed to do this. But the moment you realize that you're the one in control of your own journey, the moment you stop waiting for someone else to give you the go-ahead, that's when everything starts to change. Think about it for a second. How many people do you know who are waiting for permission to live their best lives? They're waiting for the right moment, waiting for the perfect conditions, waiting for the right person to come along and say, now is your time. But the truth is, the right time will never come. There's never going to be a perfect moment. If you're waiting for someone else's permission, you're going to be waiting forever. The world is not going to hand you permission on a silver platter. You have to take it for yourself. The real power comes when you realize that the only thing standing between you and your success is the decision to take action. That's it. You don't need permission to get started. You don't need anyone to validate your dreams. You don't need anyone's approval. You've got everything you need right now to take the first step. I get it, though. I understand how hard it can be to take that first step. It's scary to put yourself out there, to make a move towards something you've always wanted, especially when you're not sure how things will turn out. It's easy to feel like you're not qualified or not good enough or that you don't have what it takes. But here's the thing. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to wait until you're perfect, until you have all the answers, until everything is lined up just right. Success doesn't come from waiting for the stars to align. Success comes from taking action, from showing up, from making the decision to move forward even when you don't have it all figured out. When I started my own journey, I didn't have everything I needed. I didn't have all the resources. I didn't have the perfect plan. I didn't have anyone telling me I was ready, but I knew something had to change. I knew that if I kept waiting for someone else to give me permission, I would be stuck in the same place forever. So I made a decision. I decided that I wasn't going to wait anymore. I wasn't going to let fear or uncertainty or a lack of resources stop me from moving forward. I decided that I was the one who needed to give myself permission. And that's exactly what I want you to do. I want you to stop waiting for someone else to give you permission. I want you to stop looking for external validation before you take action. Because here's the truth. You already have everything you need. You have the ability, you have the drive, you have the passion. You don't need permission from anyone to go after what you want. If you're waiting for someone to tell you that you're ready, you're going to be waiting forever. The truth is, there's never a moment when you're going to feel 100% ready. There's never going to be a time when everything is perfect. But that doesn't matter. What matters is that you're willing to start, willing to take the first step, willing to learn along the way. Because here's the beauty of it. When you start, when you take action, you'll figure things out. You'll learn the lessons you need to learn. You'll make mistakes along the way, but that's how you grow. That's how you move closer to your goals. The other thing is that you don't need to have everything in place. A lot of people sit on their ideas, sit on their dreams because they think they need to have all the answers before they can start. But you don't. You don't need to have everything figured out. You just need to take that first step, even if it feels uncomfortable, even if it feels uncertain. The key is to keep moving forward. Every step you take, no matter how small, gets you closer to where you want to be. It's also important to remember that you don't need permission to fail. I know that might sound strange, but hear me out. A lot of people don't take action because they're afraid of failing. They're afraid of what others will think if they mess up or make a mistake. But failure isn't the end. Failure is part of the process. Failure is just feedback. It's not a sign that you're not capable or that you shouldn't try. It's a sign that you're on the right track. Every failure is a lesson. It's a chance to learn, to grow, and to become better. The only real failure is not trying at all. So I want you to let go of the idea that you need someone else's permission. I want you to stop waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect conditions, the perfect validation. The truth is, you already have everything you need. You just have to make the decision to take action. You have to give yourself permission to succeed, permission to fail, permission to learn, and permission to grow. When you do that, when you stop waiting and start doing, something incredible happens. You start to take control of your life. You stop letting circumstances dictate your future. You stop relying on other people to tell you when it's time to act. You become the one who makes things happen, and that's when success begins. So I'm telling you today, you don't need permission. You don't need anyone's approval. The only thing you need is the courage to take that first step. You've got everything inside of you to make it happen. Now stop waiting. Stop looking for validation and start moving toward your dreams. The only permission you need is your own, and once you give it to yourself, there's nothing that can stop you. Something that can either make or break your progress, self-motivation. You've heard it before, right? People talking about staying motivated, pushing through the tough times, staying focused. It sounds good in theory, but in practice, motivation can be elusive. It's easy to feel motivated when everything is going well, when the wind is at your back, when the sun is shining, and everything seems to be falling into place. But what happens when things aren't going so smoothly? What happens when life throws challenges your way? When the road gets rough? When you don't feel like getting up in the morning? That's when the real power of self-motivation comes into play. Self-motivation is what separates those who achieve their goals from those who give up. It's the drive, the fire within you that keeps you going even when it feels like the world is against you. But here's the catch. Self-motivation doesn't come from external sources. It doesn't come from someone else telling you what to do or from a video or a podcast giving you a quick burst of inspiration. It comes from within. It's a decision that you make every single day to keep going even when you don't feel like it, even when it's hard, even when you're exhausted, broke, and wondering if it's all worth it. I want you to understand something right now. Motivation is not something that just magically appears when you need it. It's not something that you can rely on to get you through the tough times. If you're waiting for motivation to come knocking at your door, you're going to be waiting a long time. Motivation is something that you have to create for yourself. It's something you have to build from the inside out. And here's the good news. You can do it. You have the power to motivate yourself no matter the situation. You just have to learn how to tap into it. One of the first things you have to realize is that motivation isn't always going to feel like a rush of energy or excitement. In fact, most of the time it's going to feel like a quiet, steady drive. It's that small voice in your head telling you, keep going. It's that inner commitment to your goals that pushes you to take action even when you're tired or discouraged. Motivation is not about waiting for the perfect moment. It's about taking action in the moments when you don't feel like it. The key is to not rely on your feelings because feelings come and go. What you can rely on is your commitment, your discipline, and your ability to push through even when you don't feel motivated. Let me give you an example. Think about a time when you were doing something, anything, that required consistent effort. Maybe it was starting a new habit, working on a project, or trying to reach a personal goal. In the beginning, you felt excited, energized, ready to take on the world. But as time passed, that excitement started to fade. You hit a rough patch. Maybe things weren't going as smoothly as you expected. Maybe you got tired or frustrated. What did you do? Did you quit or did you keep going? If you're like most people, you probably hit a point where you felt like giving up. It's easy to quit when things aren't going perfectly. But those who succeed, those who truly reach their potential, are the ones who keep going when it's hard. They don't rely on the feeling of motivation to drive them. They rely on their commitment to their goal, on their discipline to show up every single day, even when it's tough. Self-motivation is about creating a routine that keeps you going even when your emotions aren't aligned with your goals. It's about doing the work even when you don't feel like doing it. You don't have to feel motivated all the time to make progress. What you need is consistency. You need to show up even on the days when you're not feeling it and do the work anyway, and over time that consistency will lead to results. The more you show up, the more progress you'll make and the more momentum you'll build. Here's something else you need to understand about motivation. It's not something that you can just flip on or off like a light switch. It's not something that you can just wait for and expect it to appear when you need it most. Motivation is like a muscle. The more you work on it, the stronger it gets. If you're constantly waiting for motivation to strike, you're never going to build the strength you need to keep going when things get tough. But if you start working on it every single day, even when you don't feel like it, that's when you'll start to see the power of self-motivation. It becomes a habit. It becomes part of your routine. And once you make self-motivation a part of your daily life, it becomes easier to keep going even when obstacles arise. Now, this doesn't mean that motivation is the only thing you need to succeed. Of course, you need strategy, you need planning, you need skills. But without motivation, none of those things are going to matter. Motivation is what keeps you moving forward. It's what keeps you taking action even when things don't go according to plan. And let's face it, things rarely go according to plan. But when you're motivated, when you have that internal drive, you don't let setbacks stop you. You find a way around them. You adjust your course. But you keep moving forward. The other thing you need to remember is that motivation isn't just about doing things for yourself. It's about doing things for the people who depend on you, the people who look up to you, the people whose lives you can impact. When you start thinking beyond yourself, when you realize that your actions have the potential to inspire others, it becomes a lot easier to stay motivated. You're not just doing this for you, you're doing it for your future, for your family, for your community, for anyone who will benefit from your success. So how do you start building self-motivation if you don't feel it right now? First, you need to get clear on your why. Why do you want to succeed? Why are you doing what you're doing? What's driving you? Your why has to be bigger than the temporary discomfort you're feeling. When you remind yourself of your bigger purpose, when you connect with the deeper reasons behind your goals, it becomes easier to stay motivated. It's not about the short-term struggles, it's about the long-term rewards. Second, you need to take action even if you don't feel motivated. Motivation follows action. It's not the other way around. If you're waiting to feel motivated before you take action, you'll be waiting forever. But if you take action even when you don't feel like it, you'll start to build momentum, and that momentum will fuel your motivation. Finally, you need to make self-motivation a habit. The more you practice it, the easier it gets. Start by making small, manageable goals and showing up every day to work on them. Over time, you'll start to build the muscle of self-motivation, and once you do that, you'll find that nothing can stop you. At the end of the day, self-motivation is what keeps you going when everything else fails. It's what pushes you to keep working when no one else is watching, when the results aren't immediate, when it feels like you're getting nowhere. But here's the truth. If you keep going, if you keep showing up every day, if you keep taking those small steps, you'll eventually get there. You'll eventually reach your goals. And when you do, you'll look back and realize that it was your self-motivation, your willingness to keep going when you didn't feel like it, that got you there. And that's when you'll truly realize the power that lies within you. We'll do anything we can to run away from it, to push it aside, to ignore it. Pain can be physical, emotional, mental. Whatever form it takes, it's something that doesn't feel good. It's uncomfortable. It's the kind of thing that makes us want to stop, to quit, to give up. But I want to tell you something that might sound a bit counterintuitive. Pain is not your enemy. In fact, it might just be the very thing that leads you to your greatest strength. Pain, when you learn how to harness it, can become your power. Now, I know what you're thinking. How could something that hurts so much, something that makes you want to give up, possibly be a source of power? The answer is simple. It's all about how you look at it. Most people see pain as something to avoid, something that's a sign that something is wrong, something that should be stopped as quickly as possible. But pain in the right context can be your greatest teacher. It's a signal that something is happening inside you. It's a sign that you're growing, that you're pushing yourself, that you're expanding beyond your comfort zone. And when you can learn how to use that pain as fuel to transform it into motivation and strength, that's when you start to unlock a whole new level of potential. Think about it. Every time you've ever faced a challenge, every time you've hit a wall or faced a setback, there was pain involved, right? And I'm not just talking about physical pain here. I'm talking about the emotional pain of rejection, the mental pain of feeling like you're not good enough, the frustration of not seeing results right away. But if you really think about it, every single one of those experiences shaped you. Every painful moment helped you grow stronger, helped you build resilience, and pushed you closer to who you are becoming. What's interesting is that when we go through painful moments, we often feel like we're broken. We feel like something is wrong with us, like we're not capable of handling what life is throwing at us. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Pain doesn't break you. It doesn't make you weak. It makes you stronger. It's only when you stop running from it and start facing it head on that you truly begin to realize your inner strength. And here's where the real magic happens. Pain is the ultimate transformer. It's in the pain that you can find the strength you didn't know you had. It's in the struggle that you build character. It's in the moments when you feel like giving up, when you're tired, frustrated, and broken down, that you realize how much more you're capable of. The key is in how you respond to pain. You have a choice. You can either let it defeat you or you can let it empower you. You can choose to use it as a stepping stone to greatness. I want you to think about the times in your life when you felt the most pain. Maybe it was a time when you felt completely defeated, when everything seemed to be falling apart. Maybe it was a time when you lost something or someone that was important to you. Maybe it was a time when you felt like you weren't good enough, when you faced failure after failure. Now, I want you to ask yourself, what did you learn from that pain? How did you grow because of it? Because I can guarantee you that you grew. You became stronger, more resilient, more capable. And that's the power of pain. It transforms you into someone who can handle even more, who can take on greater challenges, who can rise above adversity. When you experience pain, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that it's a sign that you're not meant to succeed, that you're not cut out for this journey. But that's the narrative that keeps most people stuck. They avoid pain at all costs. They see it as a sign of failure, a sign that they're not strong enough to handle what life is throwing at them. But the truth is, pain is a sign that you're growing, that you're evolving. It's a sign that you're becoming the person you need to be in order to reach your highest potential. If you can learn to embrace pain, if you can learn to lean into it rather than run away from it, you'll find that it becomes your greatest ally. Think about the times when you faced challenges and came out the other side stronger. Maybe you pushed through when you thought you couldn't. Maybe you kept going when you were tired, broke, and ready to give up. Those moments are the ones that define you. Those are the moments that shape your character. And the thing is, the more you experience pain and the more you learn how to handle it, the stronger you become. You start to see pain not as something to avoid, but as a tool that's helping you get better, helping you grow, helping you become the best version of yourself. But there's a catch. Pain is only transformative if you let it be. If you allow it to break you, if you allow it to defeat you, then you're not going to experience the power that comes with it. You have to learn to push through. You have to learn to face the discomfort, the frustration, the setbacks, and keep going anyway. You have to learn how to take the lessons that pain offers and use them to propel you forward. It's in those moments when you feel like giving up that you have to dig deep and push harder. That's when the magic happens. That's when you unlock the strength that's been inside you all along. Now, I know it's not always easy to see the benefit of pain in the moment. When you're going through something difficult, it's hard to imagine how it's going to make you stronger. But trust me, every single experience of pain, no matter how big or small, is shaping you. It's teaching you something. It's making you more resilient. And eventually you'll look back and see just how far you've come because of it. You'll see that the pain was the catalyst for your growth, for your success, for the person you are becoming. So the next time you're facing pain, whether it's physical, emotional, or mental, don't see it as something that's holding you back. See it as something that's pushing you forward. See it as an opportunity for growth, for learning, for becoming stronger. Pain is not the enemy. It's the power you need to unlock the next level of your life. Embrace it, use it, transform it into something beautiful. And when you do, you'll find that nothing can stop you. Success is a funny thing. It's one of those things that seems so distant when you're working toward it, like it's the shining light on the horizon that feels out of reach. But the truth is, success doesn't always show up the way you think it will. Most of the time, it's happening in the background, in the quiet moments when no one's watching, and the small steps you take every day when you don't feel like it. It's in the decisions you make when no one's there to cheer you on. You're winning before anyone even notices. Here's something I want you to understand right now. Success isn't always about the big flashy moments that make the headlines or go viral on social media. It's not always about that one breakthrough that everyone sees and celebrates. Success is built in the little things, the things no one else sees, but that add up over time. It's about showing up even when no one is there to applaud you. It's about putting in the work when it feels like no one is paying attention. It's about being disciplined even when there's no immediate reward. Let's be real for a second. Most of the time when you're working on something big, something meaningful, you're not going to get the recognition you deserve. People won't always notice how hard you're working, how much effort you're putting in, or how much you're sacrificing to get where you want to go, and that's okay. In fact, that's the way it should be. Because that's where the real growth happens. That's when you start to build the foundation for your future success. Success isn't built on praise and attention. It's built on grit, on determination, on the willingness to keep going when no one's watching. Think about it. Most of the time, people only notice success when it's already here. When you're at the top, when you've achieved what you set out to do, that's when people start paying attention. That's when people start asking, how did you do it? But what they don't see, what they don't understand, is that the real work was done long before that. It was done in the early mornings and the late nights when you kept pushing forward, when you kept working even when it felt like no one cared. It was done in the quiet moments when you stayed committed to your vision, even when things weren't going your way. That's where success starts, in the invisible moments that happen behind the scenes. Let me tell you something. The real winners are the ones who keep going when there's no applause. They keep going when no one is noticing, when no one is telling them how great they are, when no one is giving them a pat on the back. They just keep putting in the work. They keep putting one foot in front of the other day after day, even when it feels like they're getting nowhere. And you know what? That's the kind of success that lasts. That's the kind of success that you can be proud of because you know it was earned. Here's the thing about success. It's not a destination. It's not some final achievement that you reach and then you're done. Success is a journey. It's something that you build every single day. It's about how you show up when you don't feel like it. It's about how you push through the hard days, the days when everything seems stacked against you. It's about how you stay focused on your goal even when it feels like progress is slow. Success isn't always a straight line. Sometimes it's a series of ups and downs, of setbacks and breakthroughs. But as long as you keep going, as long as you keep doing the work, you're winning. You're winning even before the world notices. And I want you to remember this. You're not doing this for the applause. You're not doing this for the recognition. You're doing this because you have a vision, you have a goal, and you're willing to do whatever it takes to make that vision a reality. Success is about you, not about the people who are watching. It's about the person you're becoming in the process. The lessons you're learning, the resilience you're building. It's about showing up for yourself even when no one else is. This is why it's so important to learn to enjoy the process, to fall in love with the work itself, even when it's tough. Because the truth is, if you're only focused on the end result, if you're only focused on the reward at the finish line, you're going to miss all the growth that happens along the way. The real value is in the journey. It's in the days when no one is watching, when it feels like nothing is happening, but inside you're getting stronger. Inside you're learning, you're growing, you're evolving, and those small victories, those little steps forward, they add up, they build momentum. And eventually they lead you to the big win. I want you to understand something. Success doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen just because you want it to. It happens because you keep showing up even when it's hard. It happens because you stay committed even when it feels like no one is noticing. It happens because you're willing to put in the work day after day with no guarantees, no promises. You're not doing this for the applause. You're doing it because you know that every step forward is a victory. And those victories, those small moments, will eventually lead to the success you've been working for all along. When you're focused on the work, when you're focused on showing up every day and doing what needs to be done, the success will come. It might take time, it might take longer than you expected, but as long as you stay committed, as long as you stay disciplined, as long as you keep putting in the work, the success will come. And when it does, it will be so much sweeter because you know that you earned it. You know that you built it from the ground up in the moments when no one was watching. So let me say this again. You're winning before anyone notices. Every time you make the decision to keep going, every time you show up when it's hard, every time you push through, you're winning. You're laying the foundation for the success that's coming. And when that success does arrive, when it shows up in a way that everyone can see, you'll know it wasn't just luck. It wasn't a fluke. It was the result of all the hard work, all the dedication, and all the quiet moments that no one saw. You're building something great one small step at a time. And no one, not a single person, can take that away from you.